Hi everybody, my name's Dawn from Dan Roberts Elite. I've done a couple of blogs on here, but I'm just wanting to do a really quick one today on a couple of questions that have been asked by clients just over Christmas time basically. So I printed off a couple of your emails. I thought I'd just fire through each of the questions and cover them all in one go. If you want any more information or if you want anything a little bit more detailed, just pop me an email and we'll take it from there. So I've kind of collated all of the questions that have come through on protein just because I get the same ones kind of coming in, so I figure if I can cover a couple of them in bulk, then if you do have any questions or anything, then you can just fire them at me afterwards. So kind of the first one which came in was, especially with people kind of up in their exercising because of the New Year's resolutions, which I hope you're all keeping to. Do men need more protein than women? So it's pretty much a yes answer here, but for a few different factors, just because basically protein's main kind of aim is the building block, so it's required for the function of the body's tissues and organs. So because males tend to have more muscle tissue, and so they require more protein in order to keep muscle resynthesization and all those sorts of bits going about. Your reference nutrient intake for a gentleman is around about 55.5 grams of protein a day, and for women it's around 45 grams a day. So there is a general difference, but again it just depends on kind of several different factors, which we'll go to a little bit further on. Next question was from a fair few vegetarians or vegans, or people considering going into more of a vegan type diet, but worried that then their diets will lack a great deal of protein. This isn't the case. It's kind of one of the vital things that we need from protein is to get all of our amino acids that our body needs, and we can get all of those a lot of the time through a plant-based sourced diet. So that's all of your kind of soya milks, foods, all those sorts of bits, and also seeds, cereals, nuts, all sorts of things which are high in protein but obviously aren't meat sourced. There's only about a third of the protein that we eat kind of and is eaten around the world that actually derives from animals. So you've definitely got a lot of different kind of sources and options when it comes to upping your protein intake. Next one was on what percentage of our daily calories should come from protein. So this is quite interesting. Kind of, I've had this question put to me a few times when I'm doing up diet plans for clients, and I often send the question back to the client and ask what they would think, and the answers sort of range from kind of 10% right through to sort of 50+%. The correct answer is around about 10 to 15% of your dietary intake needs to be protein based. The reason we need less kind of protein than we would do, say, carbohydrates, is because protein moves a lot more slowly through your digestive system, and your body burns more calories to digest protein than it does carbohydrates. So yeah, in that sense, kind of sticking to 10 to 15%, again, dependent on your exercise type and exercise and frequency, should pretty much cover it and make sure that you're sticking to a nice balanced diet. So the next question was, do athletes need a higher protein intake than kind of fairly sedentary individuals? Referring back to our first one about whether men need more than women, the answer to this is yes, basically. Athletes and people who are engaging in a lot of exercise frequently, they do need higher protein levels. In some cases it can be double the amount recommended, again just to ensure efficient muscle cell rebuild. So for instance, if you've got a gentleman who has a really sedentary lifestyle and he's not particularly active, doesn't really do a great deal, say if he's still on the reference nutrient intake of around 55.5 grams of protein, but then you've got a woman who is training sort of minimum 5-6 times a week, then it may mean, because her activity levels are that much higher, that she might then match his protein levels and take in around 55.5 grams a day as well. And again, just because protein is so essential for muscle rebuild, so it's helping with regulating your blood sugar levels and all those sorts of bits as well. Will the presence of protein within a certain time frame of finishing my training mean I can build more muscle? So, to a degree, post-training protein intake will help with resynthesizing and repairing muscles, but it's really important that straight after training you actually look to bring carbohydrates in a little bit more so, because they just play the essential role in order to succeed in muscle strengthening. And obviously in order to build more muscle, you need to make sure that the muscle which you have or you are building has got a lot of strength through it. It kind of comes into a little bit more nutrient timing here with regards to kind of pre-training, during training and post-training. I do have a blog on here for nutrient timing, so have a look back at that for a little bit more detail as to what you should be taking in afterwards, because it does kind of affect your training a fair bit, really. So for example, kind of your post-workout window, you need to be eating within your 45 minutes. And like I said before on the blog, your ratio needs to be around 2 to 1 carbohydrates to protein. So make sure that your carbohydrate, which you are including, is a sort of fast-releasing, medium to high sugar carbohydrate with high glycogen levels, basically, just to help restore all of the bits that you put your muscles through. Last question, just quickly. Whey protein may be high in protein, and I've read it is the best post-workout drink, but is it not high in fat? Not at all. Low in fat, and it's got added benefits of a lot of immune supporting properties as well. So your whey protein isolate is an ideal drink to be having after your training. And just one more last one. Does age affect how much protein you need in your diet? Yes. The older we get, we find it harder to rebuild muscle, we find it harder to maintain muscle, and so if you then add to that a lack of protein, your muscles are really struggling to kind of resynthesize and make sure that you keep strong. So it's really important that as we age, we do make sure that we've got a lot of protein in our diets, and making sure that we've got the relevant supplements in our daily intake as well, just to make sure that everything's ticking over as it should be. So that's pretty much it. Really brief one today, but I just wanted to go through a couple of questions, like I say, that I get kind of asked repeatedly over the course of the Christmas period. If you have any more questions, or you want any of it in a little bit more depth, or you want me to be able to can send you over some material with articles and things like that, just for a little bit more information, do let me know. I'm at dawn@danrobertselite.com. And yeah, we'll take it from there. But other than that, Happy New Year and enjoy the snow. See you soon.